good day. Thanks for coming in.
Hi. Thanks for coming in. We're happy to have you.
Welcome to the Autoscope podcast, Conversations with Nerces Mavelian. And we're going to talk a little bit about batteries.
Yeah.
Not Tesla batteries, not gigantic 3,000-pound batteries.
Those tiny little cells.
We're going to go, yeah. And we're not talking about, we don't have a sponsorship with any little bunnies or anything, Duracell or anything like that. There we go. This is. Now, Tesla would have about 2 million of these packed into their car in the bottom in order to run.
A couple thousand.
Imagine that. But batteries are very important to cars, and I know that's something that you really want to make sure our customers are aware of.
Well, I think batteries are probably the most common thing that people call about because there's always, they're depleting, they're defective, the cells they go bad in them, and it's annoying as hell to try to come out with.
It is.
Yeah.
I think we can all relate to that.
It's annoying as heck to have a problem with your battery when you come out and start, it doesn't start.
Yeah, right.
They shot, we wait for the last minute to get to where we want to go, and imagine you get there and a car won't start.
Yeah.
Or coming back or something. It's annoying. So a couple of tips to make sure that the car batteries don't give you any issues. Now, we're never going to be 100% sure that a battery is not going to go bad on us because they're they're electrical pieces. There are a lot of plates in them and so forth. So one of those components can go bad and you have no flow of current going through. Of course, it doesn't start. The car won't start. So, but there are things we can prevent from making sure that it doesn't leave us stranded. One of them is to have it tested once every 6 months. It takes no time, probably about 15 minutes maximum, 15 to 30 minutes. We also should have the charging system tested. So give it about an hour of testing once you come in for any kind of a service that will test to make sure that the battery is in good shape and the charging system, the replenishing of that power is in good working order too. Just like we talked about on the other episodes about the belts, that alternators make sure that it charges. So everything kind of ties together. Mm-hmm. But batteries are the most important part as far as I'm concerned because all the electronics now, everything runs off of it. As a matter of fact, there's a big batteries that run the car's system, like this one, that you can turn on the lights and your air conditioning, your fan, all those are run by these. And they're getting bigger and bigger because there are a lot more electronics now run the system. And they have to be more demand, and they have to be more stable. So they have a different type of systems like dry cells or AGMs or the glass mats, lithium ions, and so forth, so on. So, and there's pluses and minuses. The lithium ions are able to or absorb much more energy, and they're more expensive and they're very light. So you put them on these cars, very expensive at the same time. But some of the batteries, like lithium ions, they have a tendency to discharge themselves a lot quicker than the others. So there's about 8 different types of batteries, but three mostly the flooded acid, like the old batteries where electrolytes are all the plates that are actually flooded with acid.
And this is an example of a lead acid battery, right?
Yeah, this is a lead acid battery. Then you have an AGM.
And this is the most common battery in a car.
These days, they're all going to glass mat.
Okay.
So those are usually the most common, but you still can find them. But they're going away from this usually. Now, there's different types of things. This runs the system, but there's another battery that we talked about earlier that actually helps start the car, put it in park, some of the instrumentation, and you have two of these. This is a battery that fits in the dash somewhere that powers up your shifting, your buttons, your start stops. All those are controlled by these. So very important. So this is called an auxiliary battery. And they've done away with again, it's just like this only major version. Now they have a capacitive type where it doesn't have any liquid, it's just a capacitor in here. It does the same job. So it's electronic. It costs about the same, but less trouble. It's just capacitive. Now, a lot of people, if they don't drive, I know a lot of my customers don't have one car, they have multiple cars. And you want to maintain these, especially if you don't drive them every 2 weeks. We recommend a battery tender. This is something that you literally plug in to your battery, or we can have it installed permanently to where you just plug into the wall when you're not using it. And it maintains your battery. It makes that trickle charge and make sure that you have your batteries full all the time. So all you have to do is unplug it, get in the car and start it. I highly recommend it with a lot of our exotic car drivers that they don't drive their car. It's not an everyday driver for them. So that's what I would recommend.
So that would be if you don't drive your car for longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah,
or something
longer
like
than 2 weeks.
To make sure you put if you know you're not going to be driving that particular vehicle for the next 2 weeks, plug in your trickle charger.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, people take vacations sometimes 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month. They come home, they want to make sure their car is in chip. This is not a huge charger. It's actually a very, very small amount of amperage. It just trickles. That's what the name is. It's a battery tender trickle charger. It makes sure that it's just putting a charge there that it's not going to overcharge the battery. You don't have any fear of overcharging the battery on these.
So for like a consumer like myself to purchase, where would you find that? Where would you purchase that?
You can go anywhere from your local parts, Amazon, local auto shop, anywhere, O'Reilly's. We even sell them. We install them. It's very inexpensive. It's around the $30 range, $40 range. And
well, that's kind of nice. You can actually install something like that.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is just plug it in the wall.
Right. That's all you do.
Oh, that's great. It'd be a lot easier than having to always go up here and find your. Because I know like a lot of vehicles now, that battery is not easy to get to.
No, that's true.
So how in the world do you hook up a trickle charger then? You can't even find your battery.
Exactly. So if you have that connector, all you do is plug it in the wall, and you're set.
Oh, okay.
And and we do want to make sure that when the battery does go dead, you don't, or you jump it properly. The connections are made properly. The positive goes on first, then the negative. Make sure that you don't cross those, because a lot of times people come in with problems when they cross it, and it ruins the computer system, electronics. So it makes a big difference. So batteries are very important, especially going to fall. Have them checked. Make sure your charging system is good. Sorry. And if you're not going to drive the car, maybe the winter, it's not a winter car, make sure you install a battery tender. Trickles it, and then you don't have any more problems.
So the batteries that you sell here and install, they have a warranty.
Yes.
How long is that warranty?
Depends on the battery. Usually they come with a 30-month warranty or 5-year warranty, depending on what, because the bigger, you have a choice of buying a bigger and better, more cells in it, more powerful, longer lasting, or you can get to the economy version where it has less cells in it. It has the same voltage, it's just not built as well.
Right. And I think most people aren't even aware that there's a problem with their battery until they can't start the car.
Right, exactly. Because these days, especially with these batteries and electronics, they won't give you warning signs usually. You're very lucky if you get a warning sign once or twice that your car is not starting fast enough. Mm-hmm. You should be able to hear your car starting. You should know the starting sequence and this RPM and the cadence of it. If it goes whoa, whoa, whoa like that before it starts, that's a telltale sign of you've got a problem coming up. You better make sure it doesn't leave you stranded.
No, I really like the idea of the trickle charger, because isn't it true that a lot of cars built today, that there's a draw somewhere on the battery while they're even sitting there, that there's doing some things that...
Theoretically, they're smart enough these days to come on and turn off themselves as soon as they get the power to generate and keep the memory, and they should turn off. Like, usually it takes a few minutes, usually 10, 15 minutes, where you close the door and the car actually goes to sleep. It's supposed to put itself to sleep and cut all the power, but there's always that time when a module fails and keeps that on, and of course it draws the power, and that's why you have a draw, and it uses the power and it kills the battery. You can sometimes regenerate that battery if you catch it fast enough, but let me tell you, folks, if these batteries go down much lower than the threshold, it's hard to bring them back. And people try to bring them back by charging them. We had a car in here just yesterday. They tried to bring that back, and they're lucky that the battery didn't explode, but you could smell the acid, the sulfur acid everywhere
from that battery failing.
Because it's like a shorted battery that you try to regenerate. It doesn't work as well. So maintain the battery. Don't drain it all the way. There are such things as deep cycle batteries. Those are used for marine batteries, where they're designed to break them all the way down and pull them back up. The car batteries are not designed that way.
So, because I think of, at one time or another, the customers probably left their light on in the car, or some electrical thing in the car, and the next day they go and the battery's dead.
Right.
So then that's, you can still bring that battery back to...
If it's young enough, and if you're lucky enough, yes, because the materials are different. The deep cycle batteries, like marine batteries, are designed completely different to where they should be able to cycle up and down. That's what they're designed for. Car batteries, usually you get away once or twice with it and you're done. If you do it too often, then you've got a big problem.
So like someone buying a used car, one of the things to check would be perhaps, is the battery dated, so they can look and they can kind of determine how long that battery's been in the car or not? Or?
It is dated, but it's actually tricky. There's a code. Usually the manufacturers, they put kind of a code on it. So it's not as easy to read, but yes, we should be able to say what year the battery was made. If you bring it to us, we'll take a look at it for you.
Well, good. It's interesting. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Again, 7 years. It's the battery. That's all. It has a good lifespan. It's a very comfortable lifespan. Anything? Yes, there are batteries that last longer. Don't get me wrong, but that's a good time to think about repairing it.
Are you being generous? Are you being generous with 7 years? Being
7 years is
here.
Probably
with the heat, how much your air conditioner, everything running is drawing, and starting your car, in this weather that we have, so kind of beats up the battery.
Absolutely, the heat is the number one killer, and usually dies in the summer, and it's very apparent in the winter when you need it because the power is diminished. And you could get away with it in the summertime. In the fall, as soon as the cold weather hits, there's not enough power left in it to start a very cold starter, and the power just not enough. And that's when usually we kill the batteries in the summer, discover the problems in the winter the first time you go out. That's why fall is a great time to have your battery checked before winter hits.
Great. Well, that's all good, Nerces. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think on my vehicles, I'm going to grab a trickle charger because
you don't drive
some of them, if you don't drive them enough, especially cars that you might be like a pleasure car for you to take out on weekends or something. And it's an exotic car, or the cars are very complicated now, and they have a huge draw on the battery. Sure. This is an important thing that I hadn't thought. I'm aware of trickle chargers, but I had thought that yes, my vehicles have sat longer than 2 weeks every now and then. So I need to.
It's a good rule.
It's great to know they have it installed here. So bring your car in to have a trickle charger installed here to help maintain your battery and the life of it.
And remember to have it checked twice a year just make sure that it's okay. The battery life can be
extended by proper
yeah,
care. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Autoscope podcast, Conversations with Nerces Mavelian.
Thank you. And if you like us, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.
About 2 years since we moved from Chicago, we were looking for a great place to take our car that we've had for 16 years, and we found it here in Autoscope. Absolutely phenomenal service, take care of us, tailor every single one of our requirements and needs to what we want to get done, timing, anticipating issues. We just really love Autoscope.